All right, episode 1 here, talking about the 4 pillars of social media marketing. So I break it down to platform, content, posting, and engagement. So we're going a little bit of detail on each of these 4 pillars. So this first video, episode number 1, is talking about the pillars. So now that we have social media marketing, what do we mean by that? There's LinkedIn, which is ultimately a professional networking business site. It's the idea that we are all connected 6 degrees away from the people that we want to be talking to. Number 2 is we have Facebook, 2 billion active users on a monthly basis. It's the largest social media platform out there. Right behind its heels is Instagram, also even owned by Facebook. And so when you has some unique function, but it's on the backbone really of sharing video and picture. Next is you have Twitter. More like a public service announcement, not a ton of people listening, but a lot of people talking. Also the power of the hashtag really being seen really in the forefront of that social media piece of content. Then you'll run into things like Snapchat. You'll have, which is more of a communication tool using video. Almost think of it like the old school walkie-talkie where you talk back and forth to each other. Instead, we're doing it in video and with fun little filters where we can have like different faces and little different effects. And so obviously you can see why that appeals to the younger crowd. The next one is we run into is a podcast. Those are easy to set up. You can basically run it right from your phone. You don't need a microphone like I have here. I end up using this so that way you don't hear any ambient noises throughout. Plus, when I'm outside, you can hear it very, very clearly. Even if there's some wind, you'll get my voice uninterrupted, really. The next one is a vlog or YouTube, which is really a place to be able to store a ton of video content, whether that's 2 seconds long, 2 hours long, and so it's a great way to be able to showcase your value to the community in a video format. So let's deep dive into each of these. Number 1 is from a staffing perspective for Seek. I think that your big platform, number 1, is to attract and engage with employers, directors of HR, CFOs, CEOs, founders. LinkedIn is the number 1 choice for business networking. Number 1 is you might meet these people face to face, belly to belly out at different community events, and then you can digitally connect with them online. And so I think there's a great opportunity to have some content that's aimed at the business owners. What are their concerns? What are they thinking about when it comes to staffing? If they've expanded and they need more staff, how can they have a more efficient interview process? So maybe instead of meeting one-on-one with individuals, they just do one panel discussion, right? Bring in all the 4 people that are making decisions, have one 45-minute interview, get it done at one time. That's going to make things a little bit more efficiently, right? So there's different things that you can do. I've made other videos like this where they Seek can add value to an employer as they're looking at hiring staff. There's not going to be very many companies that are going to interview to the depth that we do and to the breadth that we do. So think about all the interviews that a talent specialist has, a branch manager has, even a district team leader has. All those interviews that are being done, we should be the best at it. And number 2 is from a quantity perspective, we can give some great advice, what to say, what not to say. And then from an employer's perspective, we can help give those one-stop recruiters a real good resource where to go to. And so it could be a great opportunity to be able to reach out to the local job centers, the county executives, your big HR managers, to your larger employers in town, and really be a part of either Society of Human Resource Managers or just hosting things at your own site and saying, hey, let's do something like that. So I know at the Marathon County, Brad Carger wanted to come and give interview advice, interview tips, specifically to those that are bilingual. Wanted to do that for an hour or 2 hours, giving his thoughts to that community. And so for us, that we said, yes, come on in. We're having another executive in our community wanting to give advice to people that are out there at our office, and we don't want to turn away that opportunity. And so looking forward to where that can go. And so those are things that I think not only can be done face to face, but then you can capture that in a different format, whether that's in video and uploading it onto YouTube or a little video and throwing it onto LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is a great platform for being able to connect business to business. The next thing that you can also do on LinkedIn is you can share articles. So those are things that, for an organization that we might want to be able to, this is our thoughts on the high touch staffing communication format, that this is how we end up running it. And so in a sense, are you giving away the secret recipe? Not necessarily. McDonald's can talk about how they make a burger, but they don't talk about the secret sauce. And that's exactly the idea here. From a staffing perspective, we can talk about what we do, how we do it, and ultimately why we do it. And that doesn't necessarily give it away on how we're going to deliver that promise. A lot of people can talk about high touch. The difference is to deliver it and record it in a format like TempWorks. And that can be extremely powerful to be able to showcase that to individuals. And then they feel it as we engage with them on a continual basis. The next step that comes to mind platform-wise is going to be Facebook. Facebook is going to be the best place to be able to reach out not only our AEs, but potential AEs. And the reason for that, and like AEs for those that are relatively new, account executive or active employee. And so the idea here for our AEs or potential AEs is that we need to be able to find out where they are. And so I'll give you this example. I'm driving back from Abbeyland. It's about 1 o'clock in the morning, and one of the AEs next to me is doing this on the phone, scrolling through. It's about 1 in the morning. They're scrolling through on Facebook. And so that's really where we know the attention is for individuals. It's not in billboards. It's not in Yellow Pages. Yellow Pages, by the way, are just thrown away, recycled. TV, who's even watching commercials these days? And if they are watching commercials, are they just fast forwarding through them because they've recorded it and they're watching TV on their time? Or are they using Netflix or Hulu? And the more significant thing I will say is, since we're going to be in business in 10 years, look at those that are younger, right? Look at those that are under the age of, let's say, 25. So right now they're 15, but they're going to enter the workforce in 3 years. They're consuming the most of, you guessed it, YouTube. And so for Facebook, it's got a little bit older of a demographic. The average age is like 40 to 45. And because there is such a presence there, even those that are young know that they need to get on that platform. They might not be as active as, let's say, someone else, but they're at least on that platform. And there's different group communities, jobs for specific specific communities. And so you can join those groups and post up different things, positions that are available. One thing just to think about when it comes to the posting is, and we'll get to this in content, is changing and mixing up your content mix. So Facebook also has the ability to be able to just showcase who you are out to the community, what job availabilities that are open at your organization. And so each branch can basically really curate their own content. And so ultimately, if I'm in Amy's position, I'm not creating any content. Give it all to the branches, let them create the content. You gave them the guidelines, right? You gave them the fence to play in. And if they created a piece of content that they didn't stay within those guidelines, tell them what they made a mistake on, unpublish it, and then make them go through and edit it in order to then put it back up. I think that's gonna be the best way to be able to do it, because what's happening right now is that you have 17 branches all funneling to Amy and she can't get it out. She doesn't have enough time because it's all bottlenecking, right? You have too many businesses reporting to one person that's gonna then push it out. Allow each branch to push it out, and then Amy can then go through and see what's being created on a regular basis. The other thing that Facebook has that's an advantage versus the other pieces of content is you can schedule things out. Now, of course, you can use some outside parties for LinkedIn, like Grapevine 6 or Hootsuite. But again, I'm saying some different platforms that you might not be familiar with within the Facebook method. For a business account, you can actually schedule your posts out. And so that's exactly what I'll do is I'll schedule something on a Monday. Let's say it's like 7:30 in the morning, and I'll schedule out for the next half hour an entire week's worth of content. It's going to come in at 3 times, 9 in the morning and 4 p.m. The reason for that is because a lot of my followers, that's when they end up consuming the content. Now you can do it at 8 and 5. Again, choose the time that you want, and you can just schedule it out. Post, and then it's done. You spend a half hour, 45 minutes cranking out your social media content, and it's already done. So after Facebook, the next one is Instagram, the reason why I have Instagram is because it's a younger demographic. It's hitting that 15-year-old that we talked about. At the same time, I can post from Instagram and it can conveniently be posted into Facebook the exact same time, and it will look the same. If it's a photo or a video, it's gonna load up the same. The only thing that doesn't load up the same is a multi-photo. So in Instagram, you can layer like about 10 different photos, one right after each other. That doesn't flow into Facebook yet. The other thing that Instagram also does use is the hashtags. And so I would make sure that as an organization, we're owning that hashtag, serve your success. We'll get to the hashtagging in the posting section in another video. Staying on the idea of platforms, Instagram allows us to get that younger demographic. It also allows you to have a one touch point. You can't schedule out the posts like you can in Facebook business page, but at least you can, if you're doing something on the fly, you can hit two birds with one stone, posting it from Instagram and being able to post it at Facebook at the exact same time. The next one, Twitter, a fantastic public service announcement tool. This is where you're telling people, okay, this is what I want to be able to hold out to the public. This is who we are, and this is the value that we have. Or this is when we're open, this is when we're closed. It's a great public service announcement tool. Now, when it comes to the platform of Snapchat, now this does hit a younger demographic. Building out the group, the platform, more followers might be a little bit difficult for a business like staffing, particularly for those AEs and our executives. Are they really on the platform of Snapchat in order to communicate with us? And I'd say right now, in engaging with some of our AEs and talking with the business owners that we talk to in our communities in Wisconsin, I wouldn't say we have a lot of people that are on Snapchat that would want to find value for us. Now, it might be fun for us to be able to use it for maybe a job center event, a virtual job event, or maybe we decide to go to an event. I would use it from a perspective that if there's a company Snapchat for Seek Careers, then I would use that platform when I'm at different events. So if I'm going to, let's say, a job center, and I'm going to do like a virtual job fair, I might use that filter, I might use that account, and then that way I'm able to then post out content and engage with people that might want to engage with us through that platform. Right now, though, I just don't see a lot of value for Seek personally to have a presence on that platform. If that changes, I'll let you guys know. From a podcast perspective, this one's huge. And same thing with the vlog. I think there's a unique culture that exists within the organization, the huge amount of history that can be preserved and legacy can be shown by YouTube. I think there's a great way to be able to interview some of the greats that exist at the organization, especially those that are the baby boomers that maybe in the next 5 to 10 years might retire. Great way to be able to capture their knowledge and put it into a YouTube. The other one is a podcast. I don't think you need to run daily from a podcast perspective, but I definitely would have a Seek Careers and Staffing podcast that's done on a weekly basis. It could be some thoughts from Carol or Joel when it comes to the overall industry. It could be coming from anyone within the organization. And it's just highlighting what's happening in the industry, what's going on, what are the thoughts, and it can be from all over Wisconsin and the Twin Cities there. And as it continues to expand, you're getting more people's thoughts on the overall industry and what's going on. So you don't need to be talking about particular companies or even particular anything specific about what the business is doing, but you might want to talk about, okay, what are we doing as an organization? How was that event that we went to last weekend, some festival? How do we find the local chamber of commerce in that community? It can be ways that we can share what our company does. And that's how you attract talent going forward. The idea that you have a website that, by the way, takes a lot of time to be able to adjust, and it's probably gonna cost us a lot of money to adjust any of those things. I think social media is a huge opportunity because we can make changes instantaneously. And also I find people are searching more in these mediums than they are on the traditional going to our website, because the website is controlled completely by us, and we're curating it on how we want it to flow and how we want it to look. where Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, not only are we controlling our narrative, but there is an opportunity for people to put their comments in. And the most important thing is about how you respond to those comments. And we'll get to that in the engagement section. So hopefully that's helpful for you on the platform section. The big ones, LinkedIn, making content that's valuable for employers to hear about how we can serve their success. Number 2, Facebook, being able to post out content for potential AEs and AEs that we currently have. Next is Instagram. We have Twitter. Again, Twitter's more of that, hey, we have this huge blizzard coming in town. The office in the Twin Cities is closed. Those kinds of public service announcements are really, really helpful. And then we have YouTube, being able to store a ton of different content. I would call it a Seek Career Staffing YouTube channel. And then that way you're able to then post up videos in there, capturing all the wonderful knowledge, the wonderful humans that have influenced and built the organization to where it is today. And then finally, the last piece of social media that I think could really be helpful is having that podcast and being able to share that narrative and allow other voices within the organization to be heard as well. And it can be anywhere between 5 to 15 minutes long. All of us could listen to it once a week on the drive into work. It could be a real fun way. I think of Lori, I think of for you and Debbie, even with any of the other VPs as well, here's a great way to be able to just share your thoughts in an easy format. And it can, and all of us have probably anywhere between a 5 to 30 minute commute, and we can then be sharing our thoughts on what we can do in order to drive things going forward. Hopefully that's helpful for platforms and giving a little bit more meat to that document that I passed out. Sherman's out.